team. The U.S. Army focuses on the fire team concept, a small unit usually made up of 4 members. Leader, typically a sergeant or corporal, equipped with a GPS, radio, and a rifle like the M16 or M4. Rifleman, the basic infantry soldier, armed with a rifle. A grenadier, carries a rifle with an attached grenade launcher for added firepower. Automatic rifleman, operates a light machine gun to provide rapid fire for covering the team or suppressing enemies. Some teams may also include specialists, such as tank destroyer, uses a javelin missile to target armored vehicles. Marksman, skilled in long-range shooting. A sniper team usually consists of 2 members. Sniper, shoots the weapon. Spotter, assists with aiming, team defense, and security. In some cases, a 3rd member called a flanker is added for additional support. The U.S. Army Rifle Squad has 9 soldiers. They are split into 2 fire teams, each with 4 soldiers, plus a squad leader who is a staff sergeant. Each fire team is led by a sergeant. Specialized squads include military police squads, 12 soldiers divided into 3 three-man teams, plus a leader. Cavalry scout squads, 6 members in 2 teams, each with a leader and 2 scouts. Infantry scout squads, 8 members, organized into 2 teams, with additional leadership roles. Section. A section in the U.S. military varies by branch and role. It is led by a sergeant, assisted by 1 or 2 corporals, and typically consists of 12 to 50 soldiers depending on the time period. In the cavalry, a section is equivalent to an infantry squad. In armor and mechanized units, it comprises 2 tanks or armored vehicles with 2 sections making up a platoon. The platoon leader commands 1 section, while the platoon sergeant commands the other. In branches like air defense and field artillery, a section refers to a squad-sized unit that can operate independently within a platoon, such as gun sections in a firing platoon. Sections may also serve as administrative formations. A platoon in the U.S. Army is a small, organized unit of soldiers, typically led by a commissioned officer called the platoon leader, who is usually a 1st or 2nd lieutenant. The platoon leader is supported by a senior non-commissioned officer, the platoon sergeant, typically a sergeant 1st class. The size and structure of a platoon depend on its mission and time period, but a standard rifle platoon usually consists of 42 soldiers organized into 3 rifle squads. Each squad is led by a sergeant, usually a staff sergeant. A squad has 2 fire teams and a squad leader. 1 weapons squad. This squad includes 2 medium machine gun teams, 2 close combat missile teams, and a squad leader. A headquarters section. The platoon leader and platoon sergeant. A radio telephone operator. A forward observer and their RTO, and a medic. In a typical infantry company, there are 3 rifle platoons and a 4th platoon called the weapons platoon. The weapons platoon provides the company with heavy weapons support, including mortars, anti-armor systems, and heavy machine guns. Company. In the U.S. Army, a company is a unit that typically consists of 4 to 6 platoons, with a specific structure depending on its type and mission. It is usually commanded by a captain, although certain specialized companies may require a major as the commander. Here's a breakdown. Infantry companies, composed of 3 rifle platoons and 1 weapons platoon. Mechanized infantry companies include 3 rifle platoons, each with 4 infantry fighting vehicles and a command element with 2 additional infantry fighting vehicles. Tank companies feature 3 tank platoons, each with 4 tanks, plus a command element with 2 tanks. Support companies organize into specialized platoons for logistics, maintenance, and other support roles. Company staff includes an executive officer, 1st sergeant, readiness or training NCO, and support personnel. Artillery units use battery instead of company, while cavalry units use troop. A battalion is a large unit made up of a headquarters and 2 to 6 smaller units, called batteries, companies, or troops. Battalions are named with numbers, like 1st Battalion, and their smaller units are labeled with letters, like Company A. A battalion is used for both fighting and administrative tasks. It can't usually operate fully on its own and is part of a bigger group, like a brigade or regiment. Each battalion is led by a lieutenant colonel, with support from an executive officer, a command sergeant major, and headquarters staff. Most battalions have 3 to 5 companies and include 300 to 1,000 soldiers, though 500 to 600 is most common. A regiment is an old name that was used before the U.S. Army was formed, but now most of the Army uses the word brigade instead. Only a few regiments still exist, like armored cavalry regiments, and they keep their names because of tradition. A brigade, made up of about 3 battalions and usually led by a colonel or brigadier general. It has its own headquarters staff to help run things. Modern brigades in the U.S. Army are called brigade combat teams. These teams include different types of soldiers and support units, such as infantry, cavalry, engineers, artillery, intelligence, and logistics. The size of a brigade typically ranges from 3,000 to 5,000 soldiers. Brigades are smaller than divisions, but can be about the same size or slightly bigger than regiments. In the past, like during the Civil War, brigades had a few regiments to make up about 2,000 soldiers, and in World War I, a division had 2 brigades. Today, the U.S. Army uses a standard model for brigades, with around 4,400 to 4,700 soldiers depending on the type of brigade. There are 3 main types of brigade combat teams. Infantry brigade combat teams, made mainly of infantry soldiers, plus reconnaissance cavalry, artillery, engineers, and logistics support. Some can do airborne missions. Armored brigade combat teams, made of armored and mechanized infantry battalions with reconnaissance, artillery, engineers, and logistics support. Stryker brigade combat teams, built around the Stryker armored vehicle, including infantry, cavalry, artillery, engineers, intelligence, signal, and support units. They also have advanced communication and surveillance technology. Besides brigade combat teams, there are functional support brigades that provide specialized help like air defense, engineering, military police, cyber operations, medical care, and aviation support. Multifunctional support brigades work closely with brigade combat teams and include types like combat aviation, combat support, sustainment, fires, and battlefield surveillance. A division in the U.S. Army is a large unit usually made up of 17,000 to 21,000 soldiers, but it can grow to 35,000 to 40,000 with extra support units during operations. It is led by a major general, supported by a command sergeant major, and includes a staff in its headquarters. Historically, divisions were self-sufficient units made up of a headquarters, 3 maneuver brigades, division artillery, an aviation brigade, an air defense artillery battalion, an armored cavalry squadron, an engineer brigade, and other support assets. However, with the introduction of the brigade combat team system, divisions have become tactical units of employment that command a flexible number of modular units. Modern divisions typically include 3 brigade combat teams, a combat aviation brigade, and headquarters battalion. Some elements, like division artillery and engineer brigades, were removed from the divisional structure in 2007. However, starting in 2014, divisional artillery units began reappearing as some fires brigades were reorganized to fill this role. 2 divisions usually form a corps, and the Army currently has 11 active divisions and 1 deployable division headquarters. A corps is a large military unit in the U.S. Army, usually composed of 20,000 to 45,000 soldiers, and is led by a lieutenant general. It is a flexible operational unit of employment, meaning it can control a variable number of modular units depending on the mission. Historically, a corps included a headquarters for command and planning, 2 or more divisions, corps troops such as artillery, an armored cavalry regiment, an air defense artillery group, and an aviation group, an expeditionary sustainment command for logistics and support, other specialized support brigades. Today, a corps focuses on operational combat and deployment, giving orders and direction to the forces under its command. It is the highest level of command directly involved in combat operations, while higher levels focus more on administration. As of May 2025, the U.S. Army maintains 4 active field corps. A field army, often referred to as a numbered army or simply an army, is a large military formation that primarily serves administrative and strategic roles. It is usually commanded by a general or lieutenant general. Historically, field armies included an Army headquarters battalion for command and control, 2 corps, each containing multiple divisions, Army troops such as field artillery, air defense artillery, armored cavalry, aviation, military intelligence, combat engineers, and signal units. A field army support command to provide logistical support, including military police, medical units, maintenance, quartermaster services, transportation, and ordnance. Field armies were significant operational units capable of directing large-scale combat operations. For example, during Operation Desert Storm, the Third Army commanded 2 corps. Today, field armies are primarily administrative structures and often function as Army Service Component Commands under Unified Combatant Commands. They oversee multiple corps and are responsible for broader operational and strategic objectives. For instance, the 7th Army manages U.S. Army forces in Europe. The 5th Army and 1st Army previously operated as military districts within the continental United States. While the role of field armies has shifted from direct battlefield command to administrative and strategic oversight, they remain an integral part of modern military organization.